Hi, I'm Dr. Kate Jackson and I'm a lecturer and the Deputy First Year Director here in the School of Physics. And I also helped redesign and restructure PHYS1110 Everyday Physics. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. Basically, how do you do well in this course and the structure of everyday physics, as well as the assessment items. So for everyday physics, basically what we hope that you understand, or what we hope that you get out of this course, is that you understand the world around you a little bit better, such as when you see a street light, you'll know how it works. When you pass a speed camera on the side of the road, you'll know how it works. And you'll also know how cars move and how cars stop. So we hope that you understand all these everyday phenomena and how the underlying physics works. There are no prerequisites for everyday physics. However, just because you don't need to know physics coming into this course doesn't mean that you're not going to need to know some basic things like mathematics. Now, physics, it is a quantitative science, which means that we need to know a little bit of mathematics. However, you don't need to know calculus. You don't need to know really complicated mathematics. What you do need to know, though, is things like some basic algebra. So for example, rearranging equations. You need to know things like trigonometry, so how to deal with right angled triangles and how to work out the angles and the sides of triangles based upon what you know in a triangle, as well as geometry. So for example, things like how to work out the gradient of a straight line. So during the course, we also link to other resources that might help you refresh your mathematics knowledge if you need that. So for example, some videos or some resources from the Khan Academy. So now let's talk about the structure of everyday physics. Each week, we recommend that you cover one topic. Now, in total, there are 12 topics. However, you only need to complete a minimum of 8 to satisfy the requirements of the course. However, you can do much more than 8. You can do all 12 if you like. So you don't need to just do 8 and stop. If you are looking at the topics and want to do more, please feel free to do that. Or especially if you find some topics easier than others and you find yourself progressing through quicker, you're more than welcome to do more than 8 topics. And each topic, it covers an everyday phenomena and the underlying physics of that phenomenon. So for example, the street light topic covers things like electric current, power, as well as the photoelectric effect, which is really exciting because it was one of the first experiments that sort of set the foundation for quantum mechanics. Now, in these topics, there'll be several things for you to do. There'll be video lectures, and in these video lectures, which were filmed and done by Associate Professor Liz Angsman, who is a lecturer and the first year physics director in the school here. In these lectures, there'll be things like demonstrations and worked examples for you. Throughout the lectures as well, there'll also be optional videos and readings that if you have time, feel free to do them because they are actually going to solidify your knowledge of the topic, or if you want to explore some other topics in a little bit more detail, please follow those extra readings and watch those extra videos. But like I said, they are optional. Throughout the lecture, there are also going to be problems for you to try. And these are going to be based upon the worked examples that you've just covered and the physics and the equations that you would have learnt in the lectures. So they are scattered throughout the lecture, but also at the end of each lecture, there'll be a few problems, usually, 3 to 5 or 6 tutorial problems at the ends of the lectures. Now, it's really good for you to actually do these because the best way to learn physics is to actually do physics, and the best way to learn how to solve physics problems is to do physics problems. So we recommend that you have a go at these tutorial problems at the end and All of these tutorial problems come with solution videos. So if you're not sure, just have a go and a solution video is going to pop up that's going to show you how to do the problem. So we really recommend that you do those. Also, after completing each of the lectures, after completing the lecture for a topic, there'll be a practice quiz in that sort of section of Moodle for you to try. And those are going to be sort of more tutorial-like problems for you to do. These aren't going to have solution videos, but they'll be randomly drawn from a bank, so you can do the practice quiz as many times as you like. And you're going to be getting new numbers and probably, most likely, new questions every time that you do it as well. So I recommend that you try those a few times to make sure that you're understanding how to do those problems. And that's going to really help you with the final exam in this course too. Now, like I said, you need to complete a minimum of 8 topics for the term. However, that doesn't mean that you have access to every topic at the beginning of the term, because most of the topics actually require you to have done some other topics first so you understand what you're about to cover in that topic. So when you first have access to the course, you'll notice that you have access to 3 topics and you must do one of those topics first. Those topics being, how does the street light work? What makes a car go? And how does the speed camera work? So once you have completed the lecture for that topic, once you've progressed through the lecture videos and attempted the practice problems and the tutorial problems, the other topics that require that topic as a prerequisite will become available. So for example, if you do the streetlight topic first, then the why does your kettle boil topic will then become available to you, and you'll be able to do the lecture for that topic. So having said that though, how you complete the topics in the course is up to you. So long as you complete at least 8 topics and follow the prerequisite requirements for the topics, you can really do them in any order. So for example, you may choose to do the streetlight topic first, then the kettle topic, but then you might go back and do the what makes a car go topic. You don't have to do the next topic following on from the kettle topic if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. And this is this is an online course, so it's all about your self-motivation. How you complete the topics, when you complete them, it's all up to you. So I recommend that you choose topics that you are most interested in first, and progress through them and make sure that you're progressing through at least 1 topic per week. Okay, so now let's talk about the assessment for everyday physics. Firstly, we're going to talk about the investigations. Now, physics, it's an experimental science, which means that you can demonstrate physics in the home really easily. So during the lectures, while you're attempting the lectures, we may suggest that you try things at home to solidify your understanding and demonstrate physics in the home. In terms of assessment though, you also need to perform 3 investigations at home, which are due in weeks 3, week 7, and week 10 of the course that use just general household items. Therefore, although you can do the topics in any order that the course allows, following all the prerequisites and stuff like that, you need to keep note of when the investigations are due. Remember, weeks 3, 7, and 10, because the investigations are linked to specific topics. These are all outlined in the course outline, but you need to have done specific topics to be able to access specific investigations, because you need to know what that topic is about to do the associated investigation. So for example, you may choose to do the streetlight topic in week 1 and the kettle topic in week 2. Now, if you do this, you will be able to access the kettle investigation, which that's going to allow you to measure the specific heat of water using a kettle, a stopwatch, and a thermometer, the thermometer being optional. But to understand how to do the kettle experiment, you need to have done the kettle topic. To do the kettle topic, you need to have done the streetlight topic. So that's how that works. Having said that though, you can do any investigation, so long as you've done the prerequisite topics for that. And what we'll get you to do is in weeks from week 2, over week 2 and week 3, week 6 and week 7, and weeks 9 and week 10, we'll get you to allocate on Moodle or indicate to us on Moodle which investigation you're planning to submit. Once you've done that and you've done the prerequisite topics, you'll be able to access the investigation. You can always switch investigations. If you read the investigation and decide you don't want to do it but want to do another one that you are eligible to do, you're more than welcome to swap. You just need to swap in your group, the group that you've sort of indicated, or the investigation that you've indicated. You just need to swap out of that. And I'll explain all of this and show all this to you when if you go look at the, how to navigate Moodle for this course. Now, if you don't have the equipment, even though all of these investigations use sort of general household equipment, if you don't have any of them, you can borrow them on a 24-hour loan basis from the School of Physics. If you come to the first year physics lab, you just let them know that you're part of everyday physics and you want to do X investigation. They will lend you the equipment. But like I said, it's on a strict 24-hour loan basis because other students may want to borrow it. So don't leave your investigation to do until the last minute, because someone else may have borrowed the equipment before you. So make sure that you do plan in enough time if you need to borrow equipment. Now, if you are overseas and you're unsure if your equipment is suitable to adequately complete the investigation, just contact the course facilitator and they'll be able to guide you as to whether you need to get different equipment or something like that. Now, there are 3 investigations and they are each worth 10%, meaning it is 30% total it's 30% of your total grade. They're marked using a rubric by your tutor, and these rubrics you will see when you're submitting them, when you're submitting your investigations through Turnitin. Make sure your investigations are in PDF format too, because sometimes when you submit things in Word, a bit of formatting goes a bit astray. So if you want to make sure that your investigations look to you as they do, look to your tutor as they do to you, make sure you submit as a PDF. And when you submit, you'll eventually get feedback from your tutor. And make sure you use this feedback to improve future investigations. The late penalties are severe. It's 25% per day. And that's because we want a really quick turnaround. We want to give you feedback for your investigations really quickly. So make sure you submit them on time unless you have special consideration. Now, the investigations are going to help you for the capstone assessment for this course, which is your final report. So using the skills that you have learned from your investigations, you are going to choose a topic to investigate the underlying physics of, and you're going to choose a topic, hopefully, that is something that you're interested in. So for example, if you're a really sporty person and you're interested in sport, there are many applications that you could, sporty applications that you could investigate the physics of, particularly in ball sports. And I hope you get ideas as you're going through the lectures and doing the investigations. Or if you're a musician, for example, one of the topics in the course is dedicated all to how musical instruments work. So if that's something that interests you, you might also get ideas for your final report investigation while you're looking through that lecture. Now, there are some, guidelines, or there are limitations to what you can do your final report investigation on. For example, you can't do an investigation that is identical to the investigations, obviously, that you've seen in the course already. Now, the final report is worth 30%, but there are several stages to it. The first stage being, and all the dates for these are outlined in the course outline. The first stage is worth 1%, and this is where you post a proposal of what you're going to do for your final report to your tutorial group discussion. And this is all outlined in Moodle. It's all in the final report section on Moodle as to how that's marked and what you actually need to include in that post. And your tutor's going to give you feedback on that. Also worth 1% is you submit a draft of your report to the workshop tool in Moodle. Now, what this does is when you submit your draft, it is going to pull all the drafts together and it distributes 5 drafts to each student. And what you're going to do is, using that, once you submit your draft, you're going to get 5 of your peers' drafts back, and you're going to mark those according to a rubric on Moodle. And this is very straightforward. Once you go into the tool, you'll be able to see the report drafts that are allocated to you, and you just need to give some comments. And how this is marked, again, is all on Moodle. Now, even though you give your peers marks, what you are being marked on is not what your peers mark your draft as. What you get marked on, which is worth 8% of your mark, is the tutors mark your feedback, the quality of the feedback that you give to your peers. They do this according, again, to a rubric on Moodle, and that's where you get those 8% marks. So it's really important that you actually submit a draft for the report, because if you don't submit a draft for the report, you're not going to get 5 of your peers' drafts to mark. Therefore, you miss out on 9% of the total grade for the course. So make sure that you submit a draft, and make sure that you submit it on time, because as soon as the due date and time has passed for the draft, for the submission of the draft report, Moodle automatically distributes 5 drafts per student, and you're not able to submit late. So make sure that you submit that on time if you want that 9% of the grade. So then once you have all this feedback from your peers, you will use all that feedback to, when you submit, and correct your final report, which is worth 20% of your grade. Again, the late penalties are severe for the final report. It's 25% per day. And finally, the final assessment for the course is going to be an online exam worth 40% of your mark. Now, the questions are going to be structured in the same way as the tutorial problems in the lectures, as well as the questions in the practice quizzes. So while the tutorial problems and the practice quizzes are not compulsory, we highly recommend that you do them, because they're going to help you solidify your knowledge of how to solve physics problems, and they're going to help you in the final exam. So there are going to be 12 questions in the exam, 1 from each topic, of which the 8 questions that you complete with the highest marks are going to count towards your marks. So you're more than welcome to complete more than 8 questions, and your 8 highest are going to count. So this is based upon, you're just going to choose based upon which topics you did. If you did 8 topics, you're going to choose the 8 questions that align with those 8 topics. And finally, expectations for this course. So while this is an online course and it can be taken as a general education elective, it's useful to know that physics is really difficult to learn, and it's really difficult to learn online. So this is going to require quite a bit of your time. For your usual course, it's the same as that. It's around 12 to 15 hours per week, and that's what we expect you to spend on this course. And that's going to be working through the lecture videos, working through the tutorial problems, working through the practice quizzes, completing your investigations and your report. So what I would recommend is printing out the course outline, making sure that you choose which topics you're going to do, and you know which due dates, when the due dates are, so you don't miss any assessment deadlines. Also, finally, plagiarism is a big one. Please do not plagiarize, and this includes self-plagiarism. So, for example, don't submit one of your investigations that you submit during the term as your final report. That counts as self-plagiarism, and your final report won't be marked, and you will be it will be flagged as plagiarism. And plagiarism, the penalties are really severe, and UNSW treats it very seriously, so please do not plagiarize. And finally, I hope you enjoyed the course. We hope that you learn a lot. We hope that once you've done this course, that you walk away and you have a new appreciation for the world around you. And we'll see you in the course.